YouTube, what's up? Riz here, back with some more NFL draft coverage. Today I'm talking about trades in the NFL draft, mainly the first round, but maybe some predictions, who's expected to trade, and at the end I'll give you 4 trade scenarios with all the picks received, given up, stuff like that. So starting it off, a lot of news about the Browns really liking Mitch Trubisky. They could end up trading up with their 12th pick to come up and get Trubisky. Personally, I think they should stay put. I think I know it's a risk, but you may be able to get your quarterback there. I'm not even so sure it's Trubisky. There's all this crazy news going around that they love Trubisky and they were even thinking about taking him first. That could be smokescreen. They could like Watson. I can see it. They could end up maybe taking him somehow or maybe a different quarterback. But supposedly they like Trubisky. They want to trade up. There's maybe some talk with them looking at the Titans with the 5th pick, the Jets with the 6th pick, possibly trading up. But if I were them, I would stay put. But really, you have to kind of look on how the draft is going. Do you think you have to get there to get the quarterback that you want? Are you totally in love with this quarterback? So we'll have to see. Also rumored to like O.J. Howard. Maybe they sitting at 12, they get him. Personally, again, I would stay put. Then on to the Niners. There's been a lot of talks and scenarios with the team trading up with the Niners. I've seen a team like the Panthers coming up and getting a running back. It really doesn't make much sense to me why teams are predicting that, because for the team that comes up to get a running back, what do you need to get ahead of the Bears for? I don't think you need to get ahead of the Bears, because you're going to have to give up extra for that second pick. Pick is so valuable. You're going to have to give up a lot to jump ahead of the Bears. I think it's mainly the Jags you're jumping over with the 4th pick if you're getting a running back. And the Niners supposedly are desperate to trade back. They have a ton of picks, but I guess that doesn't mean they don't need to trade back. They could trade back, get more, or maybe it's because they really like a guy, but 2 is too early. Now, who that guy is, I don't know. They're rumored to like Solomon Thomas. Most people all of a sudden think that's not too early. That's right where you should go. I think it's too early for Solomon Thomas, so it could be that. Could be one of the safeties who I think are worthy of the 2nd pick, like Jamal Adams. Maybe it's a quarterback. Maybe the Niners, going back to the early stages of talking about the draft, we thought quarterback. They signed a few and mediocre ones, but then we're kind of going away from that. Maybe they want to trade back, get a quarterback. At the end of the day, I think the Niners, I don't think they're going to have any takers. They could, but who's going to want up to go to 2, want to go all the way up to 2 to jump the Bears? We don't really know what the Bears are taking. So, if they were jumping the Bears, it would have to be for a DB. But if somebody's going to trade up to 2 for a DB, I don't know. So I don't think they have any takers, but we'll see. We'll see. Then the 3rd pick, I think the Bears. There hasn't been really talk about the Bears trading. I think this is a team that needs to trade back. If Jamal Adams is there, I'm all for taking Jamal Adams. My number 2 player in the draft. The Bears need a safety. There you go. Perfect fit, I think. So, if he's there, yeah, go ahead, take him. I'm all for the Bears trading back as well, though. Either one, because you look at the Browns and the Niners, they have, what do they got, 11 picks, 10 picks, somewhere around there. And the Bears are sitting there with 7 picks in the draft. I know the Bears may be a little better than the Niners and the Browns, but I think you're going to need some more picks. I love the Bears linebacker group. I like Jordan Howard, was high on Jordan Howard last year. But other than linebacker and running back, they need pretty much everything. And then going back to linebacker and running back, you could use backup linebackers because how many got hurt last year and one got suspended. And you could use a backup running back because Langford really did not have a good season. Kadeem Carey, can he be that 2nd-string running back? If they go into the season with their current running backs, that's not bad. But I'm saying they could use another one. They can stock them in picks, get the defensive backs. They could use quite a few. They don't have a number 1 receiver. They also have injury-prone receivers, a bunch of them, and guys that can't catch the ball maybe. Tight end, they don't really have a number 1 tight end. Miller probably would be, but he gets hurt. So they pretty much need everything. I love their linebacker group, and I like Jordan Howard. So everything else other than that, they can use more. So trade back. If you're not in love with Jamal Adams or he's not there, you trade back. That's what I think the Bears should do. Jags, I see the Jags staying put. The Titans are a team with 2 picks. They're a team that likes to trade, likes to make moves, and they have 2 picks. So I expect them to move. It's going to be interesting to see where, when, with which pick are they going to trade back with the 5th? Are they going to trade up with the 18th? Are they going to do both? They can trade back and trade up. I don't see them trading up with the 5th pick, but you don't count anything out with them. A team like the Bengals, they have a ton of picks, and maybe they can package a few of them and just trade up a little bit. They could use a guy like Mike Williams, my number 1 wide receiver, or Derek Barnett, who if he dropped a little bit, they can trade up for. But at the end of the day with that one, I'm saying stay put, because I think you can get Mike Williams or Derek Barnett or another one of those guys, same position, almost similar skill level at where they pick at 9. So I think they stay put. Just the thought that they have a ton of picks, they could trade up, but they could use quite a few things. Stay put, use those picks, become a much better team. Then on to the Bills. Not a lot of people talking about the Bills. They were talking about the Bills when people thought they needed to trade up for a quarterback. Now it's looking like they're going to stick with Tyrod Taylor, maybe sneak in a quarterback in the draft somewhere in here. But I think they should be talked about more as trading back, because I think they need more picks. They're not really short on picks, but they have quite a few needs. Like I said, they can use a backup quarterback, but they need some starters on defense, some more defensive backs, losing Gilmore. They need multiple wide receivers. So they could use quite a few starters and then some depth in other position to become a good team. So I think they need more picks. I think they can trade back, still get a good guy in the first. So that's a team, maybe a wild card team to look out for, because there's always surprising teams that trade. Another team is the Colts. Colts, after looking through the Colts, they need a good amount of defense. They could use some spots on offense, but they need some good amount of defense here. They had a pretty solid free agency, but one thing I noticed about them is they have 6 picks in 4 rounds, which I love. That's great for this draft, but they could use some more picks. It's not a team that I think should for sure trade. Like, I think the Bills should trade back. I think the Bears, if Jamal Adams isn't there, I think they need to trade back. So it's not as major deal as those teams, I think, but they could trade back. And then all along, I've been saying, if you watch my videos from the beginning, I've been saying I think a team will trade up for O.J. Howard. Kind of a bold prediction of mine. And I look at a team like the Broncos, who really could benefit from his talents and could use a tight end. I look at a team like the Broncos. They could trade up if Howard drops a little further than expected. If he's gone by 12, I think maybe the Browns will take him at 12. If he's gone there, I don't think they trade up that far. But if he slips past 12, I think we can look out for a team like the Broncos. I know some people have the Bucs taking Howard, which would be a good pick where they sit, but do they trade up for him when they already have Brate? I don't know. He's much better than Brate. But is it worth trading up when the Bucs need some defense to take that next step to be a solid playoff team, more than just a playoff team? I think they stay put. But the Broncos could be a team to trade up. On to the Texans. Texans, obvious one. Recent news that they will not be taking a quarterback in the first round. I mean, who's going to be their quarterback? Do they really want to wait and take a risk on a guy like in early mid-rounds? That's going to be their quarterback. I don't know. I think they got to take one of these first-round quarterbacks. I honestly think they can stay put. I think one of the 4 will drop to them. I think Kaiser would probably be the 4th one off the board, and that's a fit in Houston, and I think they would love to have him. So I think they could stay put, but a scenario could be them trading up, could be a wild card team trading up to get their quarterback. They don't really have too many needs, so that's a good thing. They could afford to. You're going to have to give up quite a bit if you're trading up for a solid quarterback. Maybe they like Watson, trade up and get him. They're going to have to give up quite a bit, but it's okay. It's like one of the few teams that's okay for them to do that, and that's one of the teams. Another team is the Chiefs. Definitely a contender team, and they have a ton of picks, so maybe they package some, go up and get. There's multiple positions they can get. Maybe they go up and get a receiver. They need another receiver. They can maybe get one of the top 3 guys. I don't see them climbing as high as getting Mike Williams. Maybe if Mike Williams drops, that's what triggers the trade. Corey Davis, John Ross would be more likely if they did trade up a little bit. Looking at corner, maybe they want a better corner than where they're sitting. Maybe they want a Garyon Conley with Marcus Peters. That would be a great duo. I know they have a few other corners, but they could get better there. Or a linebacker. They can use another linebacker, middle or outside. Maybe they trade up, get a Hassan Reddick, somebody like that. So I couldn't really find a partner for the Chiefs. I have 4 scenarios, 4 different trades at the end. I didn't have the Chiefs trading because I couldn't really find a partner. I don't think anyone wants to trade back too far when you can get a solid starter day 1. You can get a starter day 1 where the Chiefs pick now, but I didn't want anybody to trade back too far. Maybe it happens, though. And then other teams I want to mention before I get into these scenarios, the Jets. I don't think the Jets trade their first round pick. I don't think they move there, but Eric Decker and Sheldon Richardson, those guys are rumored to maybe be traded during the draft. I'd be kind of surprised for like a high profile players like that to be traded during the draft. I don't think they would really go for much. I really like Richardson though, one of the better D linemen in the NFL. Maybe inconsistent at times, but I'm curious to see what those guys would go for. Decker, I guess, would probably be a mid-rounder. I guess that's all they would get if they're really trying to trade him. Richardson would be much higher, so we'll wait and see there. Something to look out for, but I'd be surprised. You don't really see players like that traded, so we'll see. Then the 3 teams without a first-round pick. Well, just looking at the Rams, or they have the earlier pick in the second, so they could trade up from there just a little bit to get in the late first, get an offensive lineman. They can go more than just that, maybe some DBs, and really anywhere receiver. So that could be an option. And then the 2 other teams, like the Vikings and the Patriots, those 2 teams might be the teams that trade the most over the past few years. See them trading like crazy. Patriots, I don't see it happening to them in the first, though. They don't have enough ammo, I don't think. I don't think they really need to, obviously. And the Vikings, I think the Vikings end up having more needs than I thought originally. So I think they stay put and rather have more picks. They have 2/3 and 2/4. I don't think they want to package those in. I think they want to keep them because you can get a solid player in those rounds in this stacked draft class. The Rams, I can see the Rams trading up. Don't have too many picks to package, but they have a few they could there. They can trade up, get a solid offensive lineman they really like. Something I can see it happening. Most likely stay put, obviously, though. Hard to predict the trades, but I have 4 scenarios right here. Not one of them they probably won't happen, but they're good scenarios. One I really like because there's been talk of this team trading up, but I'm going to start with this one here, the one that's kind of been talked about. The Browns and the Titans. I have the Browns going from 12 to 5, so they get the 5th pick. That's all they get. The Titans will receive 12th overall pick. That is the Browns' second first rounder, obviously. They will get 52nd pick, the 108th pick, 145, and a future late round pick. The Titans love trading. They love gathering picks, so they'll gather quite a bit here. And I have the Browns going up to 5, and this would be to get Trubisky. Do I agree with the pick? Not really. I don't really agree with the trade. If it was for Watson, okay, maybe. But again, the Trubisky thing could be a smokescreen. It could be, because why would they just come out and say all this? So they could really like Watson, but I would say Trubisky just because that's what all the news is, but a lot of smokescreens at this time. And then I have the Titans trading back to 12 in this trade scenario, obviously, and I think they would be looking at a receiver. Maybe if Mike Williams is still on the board, I think he's the best receiver. Maybe they take him. They got to look at Corey Davis and John Ross as well. O.J. Howard, possibly. They could use another tight end with Delaney Walker, tight end in the future. Or then you look at, they have a huge need at corner. Latimer expected to be gone. So you look at Garyon Conley, who they really like, supposedly. So he's worthy of the pick, maybe a little early. But so receiver Conley or Howard is what I got here, possibly in that trade. So on to the next trade. This is the one I really like. This is one that popped in my head. I'm like, I see this as a possibility. It involves the Panthers and the Bears. Like I said, didn't make sense that mock drafts and kind of rumors going around that Panthers trade up to 2. They don't need to jump the Bears to get Fournette. They need to trade with the Bears, a team that needs to trade back. So the Panthers get the 3rd overall pick. The Bears get the 8th overall pick from the Panthers. They also get 40, 64, and 152. So there you go. The Bears gained 3 picks as they needed. And also move back to 8th, which is not too far, but the 3rd is a very valuable pick, obviously. Panthers get Fournette. The Bears have a ton of options at 8. Latimer, if he drops, they supposedly have it's an option at 3. I think that's a little early, but if he somehow drops, that's still an option at 8. Look at Hooker. If Jamal Adams somehow drops to 8, yeah, you take him. Look at Hooker. He's worthy of the 8th pick. They need a safety. He's a playmaker. They supposedly really like Jonathan Allen. He may drop to there because of his shoulder injury, which isn't a big concern. Or you're looking at quarterback. They supposedly really like Deshaun Watson. I don't think they like him at 3. Maybe it's a smoke screen. Maybe they like another quarterback. So a lot of options for the Bears. They trade back to 8, but that's a good thing. They gain picks. So I have Latimer, Hooker, Jonathan Allen, or quarterback are the options there. On to the 3rd scenario, 3rd out of the 4 scenarios I have. Texans and the Bills. This is a long shot because this is a far way. You got to trade up a far way here. Long way up. Texans get the 10th pick, and that's what they get to get a quarterback. The Bills will get 25th. They will get 57th, 89, 130, and a future third. Could possibly be more than that because they are trading back pretty far. I wasn't really sure on what they would get here. Probably more, but in that ballpark. So the Texans obviously get up to get a quarterback. Problem is, I think Kaiser and Mahomes fit their offense a little more. Are they worthy of the 10th pick? Probably not. I'm really high on Mahomes, and I like Kaiser's potential, so it wouldn't be that much of a reach. But maybe they like Watson. Maybe he doesn't fit as much as the other guys do, but he can do it all. He does have a good deep ball, so maybe it's Watson. And then the Bills, what they do at 25, they get the best player available. Obviously, receivers the biggest need, but they need a lot of things on defense as well. Maybe one of those three receivers, probably not Mike Williams, Corey Davis or John Ross drops them, then take them. Maybe one of those safeties that's a late first round, I should say. It pretty much can go anything, best player available, and they get loaded up on picks. They can really turn this thing around. Don't see this one happening. This one's a long shot, but something I thought of and I liked it. And then the last trade I have is the Broncos and the Colts. I said the Broncos could come up and get Howard if he's there in this time, which I guess is sounding unlikely, but maybe teams don't want to take a tight end that high, so maybe he's here. They give the Colts a call. They jump up to 15, and the Colts get the 20th pick, so only move back 5 spots. They get 82nd and 177, maybe another late rounder, but that's what I got for now. And the Broncos get O.J. Howard. The Colts, another one, they get the best player available. They can use pretty much anything on defense, get the best player on defense. If you're going offense, they could go offensive line. They're in the market for an offensive lineman. And running back, if somehow Dalvin Cook drops that far, which it's sounding realistic, kind of mind-blowing to me, but sounding realistic, or Alvin Kamara, who's definitely worthy of a pick in my opinion. So a ton of options will be there if they trade back 5 spots. They get loaded up on picks and build that defense. So that would be an excellent scenario for both teams, in my opinion. So that'll do it for this video. Trade scenarios, trade predictions. I don't know if, again, I don't think any of these would happen, but the Bears and Panthers one just made so much sense to me. Fournette is the best running back in this class. You don't see a running back like Fournette, and he fits the Panthers, and it just makes sense that the Bears trade back, still get a great player they like and could help their team day one, and they get more picks, which I think they desperately need. So that one makes sense to me. So that'll do it. Please like and subscribe. More NFL draft coverage videos coming your way leading up to the draft. We are almost there. Getting there. Can't wait. Stay tuned. Goodbye.